actually, there was probably like a lot of movies in Marvel that was just used to kind of like push the story along. I mean,
Hmm.
they were used to like probably introduce some characters here and there, different introduce some different elements, but all along it was probably just used to push like the story along. That way we get to like Infinity War, we get to Endgame.
Yes,
That way everything makes sense.
but so then that's a hard balancing act because I listen to a lot of podcasts or read books about it, and they hate that. Like
Yeah.
they like Iron Man 2 was criticized for that.
Hmm.
In the moment, how do you feel about Iron Man 2 now?
I like it.
I understand it was necessary. It was necessary.
Hmm.
Yeah, see, I enjoy the movie, but in the moment, they're just like, "Yo, what is this? This is a mess."
It kind of
Now,
felt rushed.
yeah, but 15 years later, you don't hear that as much because now,
Mhm.
now people are pretending. Not people like y'all, well, like, internet comments. They're like, "Oh, take me back to the days of Iron Man 2." I'm like, "You people were destroying Iron Man 2. I was
Yeah.
Yeah, you
there."
guys weren't saying that back in the day. I remember.
Yeah.
What up, everybody? I'm Fergs, and
Jimmy Grimm.
and this is the Come Up Podcast. And today we have a special guest. He's the host of the entertaining Avatar Slang podcast. It's your premier destination for exploring the worlds of fiction, fandom, and nerd culture, where stories might collide with politics, society, and everything in between. Each episode dives into Marvel, DC, classic cartoons, and more, uncovering how these tales can reflect or influence real world issues. As an educator and lifelong Marvel fan, he brings fresh perspectives and thoughtful insights to geek culture. Let's welcome Derek Slanger. We're happy to have you.
Thank you for having me. You nailed that intro, by the way.
Hmm.
Yeah, I work on it. I work on it. I try to just do my research and just put everything in together, and I work on it.
Yeah, man, that
So
was good.
basically, you're the opposite of American.
You said opposite of American?
Yeah, I don't think we do that anymore.
You know what? We really don't take the time. I mean, as far as like, I feel like Americans really don't take the time to. No, but I
Like,
feel what you're saying.
I mean,
I just got what he said. I'm like, what is going on?
no, obviously I'm stereotyping a little bit, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I do appreciate the time you put into that. But thank you
Yeah.
for having me. I'm happy to be on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And like I was saying, we saw the content. We enjoy the vibe. How you break down different like as far as like movies, anime, comic books, and it's not just that. You actually talk about nerd culture as a whole. So we really enjoy that.
Yeah, so for me, it's just I just gravitated toward it all. Like maybe it's my ADHD. I'm not sure, but because for me it started with like things like as simple as like Fox Kids and Power
Hey,
Classic.
Rangers, that kind of
right,
stuff.
right there. We're
Hmm.
right there with you. We're right there.
Yeah,
I love nineties nostalgia. That's what I'm all
Yeah.
about.
yeah.
90s nostalgia. No, I got you.
So yeah, so I think when I was like so to give your audience a clear idea who I am, my first
Yeah.
memory is of because I'm born like 91. I said like 91. I'm born 91. So
Mhm.
my first memory is literally Batman and Robin, like the 90s one, and Star Trek. I remember nothing before that.
I'm right
Also
there
the
Wow.
with you.
Fantastic Four.
I'm right there with you. Like as
Yeah, that
far
was
as like
good.
you remember that old school Spider Man. You remember old school X Men. Like as
Hmm.
far as like all of that being on Fox, and then all the stuff that
Yep.
was like on Warner Brothers. As far as like Saturday morning cartoons.
That was the reason I did my homework during the week.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Like that was my motivator. I used to be nuts about it. I would have a good week at school, watch whatever I watched on Toonami and Adult Swim. I don't even think it was Adult Swim yet, but I would watch whatever. Wake up at 6 and because y'all on what state y'all in, by the way?
Texas.
We're currently in
Texas.
Texas. Yeah.
Okay. So in I just learned this as I got older, but the schedules for Saturday morning cartoons was slightly different across the states, and I didn't know that.
Hmm.
So I'm in Philly. So it started at 6 o'clock in the morning for us. So
Yeah.
I would literally wake up at 5:30 just because if I overslept for a show, that ruined my week.
Yep. Yep. You right.
Yeah, no, I'm from Ohio, so I think we were in the same time zone growing up.
Okay.
I definitely used to get up. I used to love Power Rangers, Digimon,
Yes.
Beyblade, Yu-Gi-Oh,
Yes.
Beetleborgs. A lot of people don't remember Beetleborgs. I used to love Beetleborgs.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think we were really little for that one, but I loved it.
Mhm. Yeah,
And you have
yeah.
to
So,
understand during that time period, everybody was trying to copy like what Power Rangers was trying to do. So that's why like Beetleborgs. There's a show called VR Troopers that came out as
Yes.
well.
mhm,
That's kind
mhm,
of like a Power Ranger esque. Common Rider. And then there was like another one that had to do with like robots and fighting. I always screw up the name, but I remember the actor that was in it. But it
Who's the
had to do with
actor? If you
like robots and samurais or something like that. But everybody's
Oh,
trying to copy like Power
I know
Rangers
what you're
back
talking
then.
about.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So I think during that time, the one guy, he's from Israel. He was the whole thing about the Japanese footage and all that they chop up?
Mm,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so he was finding all that stuff. So he was finding all of that. So Beetleborgs and VR Troopers are actually the same franchise over in
Mhm.
Japan.
Well, that makes sense actually.
Yep.
So it's the
Yeah.
Metal Hero franchise, which I just learned a couple years ago. So that's
Hmm.
why Beetleborgs ended abruptly because that was just one season of the Metal Hero franchise.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Okay.
remember that too. It just ended. I
Yeah,
thought
it
it was
just
so
ended.
weird,
Like
man.
they didn't really resolve it that well because he was too cheap to, and he had access to make his own scenes. He just
Yeah.
didn't feel like doing that to save money.
Mhm. I mean, yeah. 'Cause I know the
Because
Power
wasn't
Rangers,
it?
they did make changes. Like they made some edits to it to make it make sense
Yeah,
for
because
Yes.
you
an
have to
American
have the
audience.
story. You have to have the
Yeah.
like the story with like all the characters in it. But as far as like the action sequences, those are already filmed. So didn't he just pull it?
Yeah. So he did some original action scenes, but he tried to limit that as much as possible.
Yeah, that makes
So
sense.
he kept all the money because ironically I just learned yesterday when I was hanging out with my sister-in-law, we were reading about this is a little off topic, I'll really back in.
Oh,
I was
you're good. You're
reading
good. You're good.
about okay, thanks. I was reading about there's a King of Hill revival,
Mhm.
and I went to the rabbit hole to see who was coming back, who's not coming back, and obviously Brittany Murphy's character might not be in it because she passed away in '09.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So there was a charity, and her husband started a charity since she passed, and it said the Haim Saban Theater or something. I'm like, Saban Theater, that sounds familiar. Saban. So I'm looking, I click the name,
Mhm.
and they're like, oh, creator of Power Rangers, created this. So I'm like, this man has enough money to have the one of the biggest theaters in LA. It's not just a movie theater, it's like a theater. So I'm like, he had enough money to do that, but he couldn't pay none of his people.
That's greed. That's greed for
Yeah,
you.
it's kinda
It-
messed
Yeah.
up, man.
so I said that to say that he could have put more into Power Rangers. That's why the movie failed because they ran out of budget money for the action scenes. That's why we didn't see that much of the Power Rangers fighting. It went
Mhm.
straight from Breakfast Club ripoff to them jumping to the Megazords.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a
And
good
dude,
point.
I actually really I enjoyed the movie, man.
I did
You
too,
can
though.
tell like it was supposed to be more. You can tell.
Yeah,
And so it makes sense the money ran out. But man, I wish they could have kept it going.
I liked where they were going. I liked the
Mm,
approach, but once I heard that they ran out of money, I'm like, oh, you know what? I do see that because we really didn't see them fight that much.
yep. It was abrupt. It went from them trying to learn how to morph to learn how
Mhm.
to morph, and all of a sudden everything started. Like
Yeah.
we you morphed, like 5 minutes later, you in the Zords. Like it didn't wasn't any real build up to
And
the
there's no,
Zords
yeah,
part at
like you
least.
said, no story. There's no. I mean, I wish they would have continued because obviously you see in the end credit scene Tommy Oliver.
Yeah.
Yeah. But,
That would have been cool. Although, I was about to say people probably would complain about the gender swap because Tommy might have been a girl, but that was
oh.
right before we had the internet complaining about everything. So probably would have been pulled off.
Yeah. They actually there's supposed to be a Power Ranger reboot. I don't know if it's on Netflix or what, but I think they made the Red Ranger a woman, a female. I don't care
Okay,
that
so
much
what
for it. I
happened
just
was you're combining two things, I think. The Red
Mhm.
Ranger was a girl in the final season of the
Mhm.
version of Power Rangers we know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now Netflix is rebooting Power Rangers from scratch, closer to what the fans wanted, because the fans wanted an animated series for a while.
Mhm.
Because they're like, oh well, if you worry about budget, well, if you have it animated, now we can have this really cool looking version of Power Rangers. But they scrapped that and they're like, you know what, we're just gonna do a better looking live action Power Rangers. So it's probably gonna start from Mighty Morphin again. It's gonna have original scenes. Unless they
Mhm.
change that. They've been all over the place.
Yeah, it's been going back and forth for years. I just want the Power Rangers back, man. I would love for it to be a bit more mature as well, because most of the Power Rangers is from what I know is still going or was still going for a while. But I
Like
think
all
most of the
those.
Power Rangers, like a lot of the, especially Mighty Morphin, we're all grown now, man. I want to see a little more mature. I like the campy stuff from back in the day, but I want to
Yeah.
see a little bit more mature Power Rangers, man.
I think they're trying to give it to today's audience and trying to like make it relate more relatable to them. That's why you see all these
Mhm.
changes and everything. But as far as like when it goes with nostalgia, I feel like they try to connect it to our generation. That way we could, feel like we're
Hmm.
we're seeing it again for the first time.
See, that's the thing. It's like sometimes they don't know which user base to feed because it's like, so I work in a school. I'm in school to be a teacher. So when you feed it to the kids, it really carries like wildfire.
Mhm.
But adults still pay for these things too. So, but I think they don't know which generation to feed it to because a lot of kids don't know who. When I say kids, I see mostly second, third, fourth graders.
Mhm.
They kind of heard the Power Rangers, but they're not having any conversations about the Power Rangers.
Mhm. Yeah, it's just not the same. Like sometimes, like my daughter's, she'll be 5 here pretty soon, but
Okay.
I kind of watch shows with her that I watched growing up, and she likes the Power Rangers. We watched the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the series.
Hmm.
We watched the 2017 movie together. She loves that movie too. I think it's a way you could kind of bridge the gap, but yeah, you're gonna have to pick one. I think you're gonna have to pick a side. Like, are we gonna continue to entertain this audience, or are we going for a younger audience? But the older audience is the older people who are going to pay for it.
Yeah,
That's
I because
true.
I feel like we're the generation that didn't grow up. We're the generation that still
Mhm.
plays video games, watch cartoons, animes. That's why we're getting all these reboots because we'll spend the most money to go see it. That's why you see in theaters now like all this stuff from like 20 years coming back, so we could go back and because we're gonna take our kids to go see it. We're gonna, go to the movie theaters and invest in like buying toys because we kind of want to relive our childhood through our kids or just relive our childhood in general.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
definitely agree with that. Um, Maybe the sweet spot for Power Rangers is to do what Marvel does and hit that PG-13 area.
smart. That's actually
But I
that's
don't
a
know.
really
I
good
mean,
idea.
marketing matters too.
Yeah, you're right.
That's a
You're
really good
right.
idea, man. That's a good idea. Speaking of Marvel, what do you think about what's going on with Marvel right now? Like the MCU wise.
Um, so when I hear this conversation, do you mean the whole Marvel is dead, Marvel is back conversation, or do you mean the MCU right now at the Thunderbolts and Captain America?
Yeah, what are your thoughts about it? So we can hit it all, honestly.
Okay.
I'm a big advocate for the MCU. I'm never really too negative about it. Ferg knows I could find a.
Mhm.
I'm optimistic. I could find some good in everything they put out, even if the majority of people don't like it. So the
Then we're
current
probably
state. Go.
no, I'm sorry. I was gonna say then we're probably related because I'm the same
Mhm.
way, and I've been accused of being like that for almost a decade now.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm in this. We're in the same boat, brothers. So I guess to start off, how do you feel about where Marvel's heading right now?
It's in a place. It's in a better place. Like, I mean, for me, I'm fine, but like for the general audience, is in a better place because people don't go by facts; they go by feeling.
Hmm.
Thunderbolts made people feel like, okay, you can make us care about these characters we don't actually really think about that much.
Hmm.
Like, people don't think of Black Widow 2. When I say Black Widow 2, I'm talking about the second Black Widow, Yelena.
Yelena. Yep.
Y- You don't think about Ghost that much. Um, if you're unless you're really into comic books, you're not thinking of U.S. agent. What's his
Mhm.
real name? Um,
John Walker.
John Walker. Yes, that's not a person you really think of that much, but it's kind of like with Guardians of the Galaxy. But yet
I was gonna
now
say
they
that.
are,
I was gonna say that's
Mhm.
it's exactly what they did with the Guardians
yeah,
of the Galaxy.
yeah,
Like as an outsider looking in, I was like, I don't know who these characters are, but
Mhm.
when they brought them to the film, I was like, hey, I kind of like these guys, and
and now they're going to
it
push them
kind
on
of
us.
makes it relatable.
Yes,
Mhm.
so I think they did that, and even more, it was a story first movie. So people are like, "Oh, Marvel still knows how to do that. Like, it could be
Mhm.
sci-fi, superhero-y, but still have a subgenre they latch to." So the way I always look at it is each Marvel movie, good or bad, always has like obviously the genre you think of first is superhero movie,
Mhm.
but each movie has a genre within itself. Like, for instance, Captain America: Winter Soldier, that's a political thriller
Yep.
within a superhero movie. Um, I can't think of any examples on the spot, but you get where I'm going.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Man was a bit of a horror movie as well.
Yes, yes, it
Yeah.
has some, but that's the
Yeah.
Sam Raimi's thing originally,
Mhm.
horror.
Yep.
So yeah, thanks for helping me out with that because I couldn't think of it.
No, no worries.
But
No, I got you, brother.
yeah, so people are like, oh, Marvel knows what they're doing to us, to at least a similar extent. But to relate that back to me always being positive about Marvel, I always thought, yo, Marvel, not every movie was a Rotten Tomatoes hit
Mhm.
until not until they hit that stretch at maybe around Winter Soldier, then that's when they started banging out, um I can't remember the order, but that 2014 to 2019
Yeah.
range,
yeah,
Yeah.
everything was like, even if you didn't love it, you're like, yo, I really like what they did with that. Like that at least that was at least inventive. Like Doctor Strange 1,
Mhm.
Civil War,
Y
Ragnarok,
Black
Black Panther.
Black
Homecoming.
Panther, Spider-Man. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're saying even if it wasn't really good, it was still good enough for people to go to the theaters and somewhat enjoy
Yes.
it. Okay.
I'm saying that, and I'm also saying that before Winter Soldier, like just as a sci-fi moviegoer, you're like, all right, well, Thor wasn't like this super good Sundancey film, but you still kind of enjoyed it,
Yeah.
Mhm.
even though you can see the flaws. You're like, you know what? I enjoyed it in theater without, before the breakdown, you at least enjoyed it somewhat. Like not the best Marvel movie for a lot of people, but you weren't bored.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
think Marvel is
I'll
more
give you that.
at that point.
I'll give you that. I didn't like the Thor: The Dark World, but
A
I,
lot of people didn't.
I'll give
But
you that.
if you were also kind of spoiled because like you're 90s kids, right? I
Yeah.
could tell.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
90s.
So
Yeah.
remember the blockbusters in the 90s?
Yeah.
It's not like we didn't have a C plus B plus sci-fi blockbuster every year. Now, like
Yeah.
if we
That's
watched
true.
Thor: The Dark World in 1997,
Yeah, that's a
we
good
would be
point.
like, yo, this is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
you okay. I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
And
Yeah,
and
we are
mind you, I'm
spoiled.
not even a Dark World fan. Like because I do so much content, I don't rewatch these movies the way a normal person can because I
Mm.
gotta move on to the next project.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I'm not defending the Dark World. I'm just trying to give perspective that we're kind of spoiled by the fact that Endgame is one of the best movies ever. Black
Endgame,
Panther was
Infinity
a
War.
cultural, yeah.
And
Yeah.
So
and when you look at it in from like a different perspective, as
mhm,
far as like it not being a good movie, I kind of realized that it was used to push the whole entire plot along. Like maybe people didn't enjoy it, but it
are we
was
talking about
just
Dark World?
used to
Mhm.
what's that?
What movie? Dark
The
World right
Dark
now?
Thor Dark World.
Yes.
Like there actually there was probably like a lot of movies in Marvel that was just used to kind of like push the story along. I mean,
Hmm.
they were used to like probably introduce some characters here and there, different introduce some different elements, but all along it was probably just used to push like the story along. That way we get to like Infinity War, we get to Endgame.
Yes.
That way everything makes sense.
But So then that's a hard balancing act because I listen to a lot of podcasts or read books about it, and they hate that. Like
Yeah.
they like Iron Man 2 was criticized for that.
Hmm.
In the moment, how do you feel about Iron Man 2 now?
I like it.
I understood. I understand it was necessary. It was necessary.
Hmm.
Yeah, see, I enjoyed the movie, but in the moment, they're just like, "Yo, what is this? This is a mess."
It kind of
Now,
felt rushed.
yeah, but 15 years later, you don't hear that as much because
Mhm.
now people are pretending, not people like y'all, well, like, internet comments. They're like, "Oh, take me back to the days of Iron Man 2." I'm like, "You people were destroying Iron Man 2. I was
Yeah, you
there."
guys were saying that back in the day. I remember
Yeah,
like it was it
Yeah.
was yeah
and
because I think no go ahead.
no, I'll make it quick. My bad.
No,
I
you
was just
good.
gonna say, I feel like a certain type of person moves the goalposts, and not only in Marvel, but with a lot of things. They're just using Marvel as a vehicle to do that.
Yeah, I can agree, and I think some people just go along with what everyone else says. So
That's
when
the thing.
certain critics get to see the movie early and they kind of give it bad reviews or say but every time that I've watched a video like that and I'm going to see the movie, I'm like, bro, it wasn't that bad.
What were they
Like for
talking about?
example, a recent one was Captain America: Brave New World. I've saw the movie 3 times and I've enjoyed it every single time. I
It's a
don't I don't
regular
think it's
fine Marvel movie.
yeah, I don't think it's as bad as people is making it seem. I think it's a Captain America movie. Like
Yeah.
it's literally it's Winter Soldiers damn near the same plot.
So no, I agree with you. I agree with you.
You know, and people
So
are just
question for both of y'all:
Yes,
Mhm.
sir.
how do y'all absorb your Marvel criticisms or reviews? Like when you, because we all have a similar feeling. Like we know which movies are liked. How do y'all get a sense of that? Like, is it through like which apps do you all go on, or is it YouTube? Like, how do y'all absorb that?
For me personally, I follow a couple YouTube channels, big and small. I try to support everyone. I've watched MCU has created careers for people, and I've watched people's
Hmm.
channels grow. So I support everybody on the spectrum. So YouTube for sure.
Okay,
Reddit, I get a lot from Reddit. I try to stay away from Twitter. I feel like
I'm done with Twitter.
people, yeah,
Yeah.
people on Twitter are a bit erratic.
Too critical. They're too
Yeah,
critical.
Very
but
negative
yeah,
space.
exactly. So, but Reddit and YouTube for me, I think are the two biggest ones.
Okay.
And then for me personally, I pretty much stick to YouTube. But
Hmm.
I'll tell you this: I don't really look at reviews before I go see the movie. I go
That's a
see the
good
movie.
idea.
I go with an open mind. That way, I'm not already put in a negative space before I watch the movie. I just go watch the movie, observe it for myself,
Hmm.
understand it for myself, and then maybe I'll go watch a YouTube clip or something like that, or
Hmm.
someone that you follow on YouTube in order to see how they understood their perspective of the movie.
Okay, that's fair. For me, I don't try to get into the Reddit, YouTube space too much. I might see, because I'm on Instagram heavy. I
Mhm.
might see someone on Instagram give it a quick score because Instagram's still very. They have reels, but it's still very image focused for like the IGN comicbook.com. They
Yep.
still post pictures a lot, so I
Yeah.
might see their feedback. And honestly, with the MCU, they have my trust, so I'm probably just going to check it out regardless. Um, for other movies, I try not to care what other people say, but for the MCU, it doesn't really matter what they say. I'm gonna watch it
Go see it. Yeah.
because
We're
that's a
going to
studio
see
I
it.
trust.
Yeah.
We're going to see it. It is what it
that's
is.
Yeah.
Like,
that's what I love about it. The fact that all these people will hate hard on some of the MCU movies, and because some people who aren't, some people who are hardcore Marvel fans who are like, well, this isn't what's in the comic book. But here's the thing: you're still gonna go to the theater and see the movie. You're still gonna
Can
give
I
them your money. So what are you complaining about?
can I address that point?
Yes.
So the whole point of watching characters in a different medium is that they don't have to be like the comic books, and I don't see how people don't get that.
so
Like,
Yes. Yes.
that's an amazing
Thank you.
point.
Thank you. Thank you.
because you think about it, Superman. The whole thing about Superman is he's a guy from Krypton. That was not the original point of Superman. But so basically, I say that to say that sometimes things gain legs as time goes on. So if you're gonna go in the exact order as it happened in the comics, you don't get nowhere. The movies are a summary of the character or that world to that point and how it fits into a 2.5 hour medium.
Mhm.
Yes.
And it's okay for it to be remixed because what they don't realize is every version we watched on TV or in the I'm talking about any medium now, whether it's Teenage
Mhm.
Mutant Ninja Turtles,
Yeah.
X-Men, Justice League, whatever.
Hmm.
Every version is remixed. Even the comics are remixed.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
remixed from the original comic. So
Mhm.
they're just
Because
doing
yeah,
that.
things change, times are different. Like it's not going
Yeah.
to be the exact same, and they're pulling from multiple different storylines for their characters.
Yes.
They pull in what they like, what they think is interesting, and they put it into that character. If they made it a carbon copy, it wouldn't be that interesting, to be honest.
Nope.
You no, it wouldn't.
And
It-
what people have to understand is, you know how hard it is to take certain things from a comic book and put it into film? It takes a lot of money, it takes a lot of CGI, takes a lot of craftsmanship. You can't
mhm.
things like for example, like there's a comic, there's like one where Superman is like bending reality. You know how hard that would be to put in a movie?
Yeah, actually.
Very hard.
And then it
That's
kind of be a little
true.
bit ridiculous too for how you
Yeah,
do that.
Especially since
And
people have an idea of what they think Superman is already.
mhm.
exactly.
So you can't just have him doing that out of nowhere.
Yeah, and I like with Henry Cavill Superman and the upcoming Superman, they seem they're more grounded. Like obviously they're
Mhm.
still super powerful, but they're more grounded because people forget that Superman was created to be that symbol. Like he's
Yes.
created to be that symbol, but nowadays I think people need to realize, hey, he can have grounded stories too. He's not perfect. He's gonna make mistakes. He
Mhm.
he's a he's not a human, but he's a being. He's a living being. He has a conscience. He's gonna make mistakes. Superman can't be perfect all the time. So you can't make him. You can't expect him to be perfect, like how he is in the comics. Like I don't think people
Yep.
will want to watch that. It wouldn't be
I, th-
interesting.
I think that's what the direction they're going with this new Superman. From what the trailers are going by, I feel like
Yeah,
they're gonna
yeah.
make they're gonna make a perfect Superman that's a little less perfect. He has his flaws.
I'm liking what I'm seeing from the
Yeah.
couple
It's
of trailers.
interesting because I think he's going to be grounded and still perfect at the same time. It's weird.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
don't think not literally perfect, but he's going to be like I wish there, I wish there was an example, but he's going to be very liked by the average person. I think the people turning him down are going to be people in power or people the
Hmm.
media maybe.
Hmm.
Well, well,
But I think
well,
the average person is going to love him
well,
and within his
Yeah.
world.
let me ask you this: do you
Mhm.
think this Superman movie that's coming up is gonna push DC in the right direction, or you think they're still gambling?
So I say that these days, almost every high budget movie is a gamble.
Hmm.
But this is a gamble worth taking. This is a gamble that if I was still a betting man, I would put $100 on this that it'll be a success. Like not a slight success, a full on success, like a full on blockbuster success. Um James Gunn, I like his direction. So I have a little relationship with writing. I'm a writing nerd. I don't have anything like published or anything, but I do it for fun when I have time.
Hmm.
And just seeing the way he broke it down on social media, I think I saw him on Threads breaking down the
Hmm.
process.
Hmm.
I'm like, you know what? It makes sense for them to have their studio head be a natural writer director type and a student of that. Like he was reading these comics the way Feige was, but Feige's not a natural writer. He's more of a
Hmm.
producer. Like I'm gonna mesh the talent together. James Gunn has writing credits. Like that's what he
Hmm.
started out as, basically.
Hmm.
Yeah, Marvel let him get away because he was the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
Like they let him get away. I don't know what. if it was something petty or what, but
No,
DC definitely did the right thing to get him.
it was the he had a case actually.
Yeah, I do
Oh,
remember it was something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was looking bad at the time. It was looking like he was never going to work again. And
Hmm.
then he beat it. It was false allegations, they said, I think.
Hmm. Yep.
But in the moment, Marvel got too scared.
yeah.
Yeah. They let
Because
him
remember,
go
he
because
was
they let
supposed to
him
do Hermes
go.
3.
Yeah, they let him go, and I think they brought him back to finish it. But I think in his
Yes.
mind, he's like, "I'm gonna finish this, and I'm done."
And
And DC
leave.
was like, "Hey, we'll scoop you up." And
Yeah,
I think they did the right thing. And I think what I believe is this Superman movie will take DC into the right direction.
I think so.
From what the
I'm hoping
trailers,
so.
for what the trailers, I mean, it's given a good viewpoint of Superman, and it's given something like we were saying. It's gonna, he's gonna look less perfect, but it's gonna keep him grounded at the same time, and he's still gonna be Superman.
Mhm.
So, also, if you ever have time, you ever heard of Creature Commandos?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Did
Yeah,
y'all
I've
watch
heard
it?
of it. Yeah.
I've seen
I
some of
mean,
it.
Okay.
I mean,
So, when you get a chance, watch it. It's an easy watch. I think there's only 30-minute episodes, 8 episodes.
Okay.
James Gunn wrote
oh
that.
yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, yeah, I've seen some
Creature
of it. I know what you're
Commandos.
talking
Yeah.
about. Yeah, I've seen
That's
some of it.
part of this new DCU.
Yeah, they're
Mm.
canon. Yep.
So the thing that makes the DCU different than the MCU right now is that the DCU, almost everything that they're making connects, kind of the way Star Wars does.
Hmm.
So
Oh. Okay.
Star Wars has video games that are canon to
Hmm.
the real story, since there's only, well, now it's like 12 movies. But you can see how it fits in. The DCU is doing that. But unlike Marvel, well, no, I can't say unlike Marvel, because Marvel has things that don't connect that much, even though they're in the MCU, like Moon Knight. We don't know where
Hmm.
Moon Knight takes place, but it's in the MCU.
Yeah,
So
that's one of my favorite characters, man. Yeah, I'm
the
probably never seen
MCU
it
version
again.
or comic version?
Just Moon Knight in general is one of my so my
Okay.
favorite heroes are Daredevil, Moon Knight,
Mm.
and then Black Panther for Marvel. And then for DC, it's really just Batman and his whole gang of people. I love Batman.
So you like people that do martial arts, it seems like.
More grounded, more
Yeah.
human like. You can relate to them and more complex characters. I really
Street
that's why I
level.
really love. Yeah, street level and complex character. That's why I love Matt Murdock so much. Like he's a
Okay.
very complex character battling his inner demons.
Mm.
He's always battling his inner demons because and his comics are so brutal and the stories are so good, man. I
Yeah.
love Daredevil, man.
Who are my favorite characters? I'm gonna have to think on that. I'm gonna give you a list before this episode's over.
Hmm.
Of course, you got time.
But yeah, no, I'm in on James Gunn. Just like I said, I've seen his creative process. I've seen the way the new heads at WB are approaching, how they're letting him approach it. Because I don't know her very well, but I've spoken to her a couple times. She works for HBO now, but she was an independent creator like us.
Hmm.
Her name's Fantastic Frankie.
I'll check her
Check
out.
her out when you get a chance. But
Fantastic, Frankie.
yeah, she all she used to do was reels and stuff, and now she's working for HBO, and she's doing their podcast and their a show on the channel, and she
Nice.
does
Hmm.
like constant stuff. She's a black woman,
That's
Nice.
pretty. You know
so
what? I think I've heard of her actually.
maybe ran into her. She's
Yeah,
even in ads. Okay,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I know
and
that.
she's
Fantastic
That
real cool.
Frankie.
She's like accessible. She's busy, but she will try to respond to you if she can.
that's amazing. Yeah, I've seen. Yeah, I've seen her stuff.
Okay,
Yep.
so even through how they do their content, so it's like the way I look at her is like, imagine if Marvel let us be their official podcasters and they don't
Hmm.
really like bind us. It's like we're gonna talk about Marvel, they're gonna let us talk about it fairly, but yet we can still talk about other nerd stuff. That's how she is.
Hmm.
Okay.
So I said that to say that, where was I going with that? That's what happens when you talk so much. Um oh that no, I totally formed the point.
I think we were talking about how like DC. I mean, how WB kind of gives James Gunn the freedom to do what
Yes,
he wants to do.
yes. Yeah. So yeah, so I guess letting the way they're getting their content out there, they're getting it out there through like, did y'all see that commercial with the Superman toys that look like the 90 commercials?
Yeah.
No,
Was it
I
during? It
no,
came
I
out
don't think so.
during. It came out. Was it a Super Bowl commercial? Or am I tripping?
That you said they're like, advertising toys. Is that what you said?
So yeah, so basically, there's a commercial. I don't know when it came out, but my friend sent it
Hmm.
to me. And do y'all remember? It was like the commercials. Like if you was watching like a Street Fighter cartoon, they'll be like,
Hmm.
"Look at Guile shoot the blast," and they'll show the toy
Hmm.
fall down.
Yep.
They have
Oh,
a
okay,
Superman
okay,
commercial like that.
okay.
Hmm.
So I'm
Like the
like,
old
they're
school.
really
Okay,
pushing these ideas and they're really putting thought into it. Like,
okay.
Yeah. Marketing. They're
so
marketing,
they're
and you know
marketing.
what they're doing. And I think, and this is where you were getting to. They're letting they're letting creatives kind of push and listening to what people are saying.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I think Marvel kind of does that, but I think DC is trying to do it on a bigger level, like touch base with even content creators, the marketing
Hmm.
teams. They're trying to touch base and get the stuff out there because I think Marvel did really good with that at the beginning, but they're
Hmm.
so big now that I don't think they'll get
Yeah.
back to that point.
Kind of like listen to the fans a lot more, see what the fans
Mhm.
want. Because honestly, we're the ones who are going to go see the movies. We're the ones who are going to go spend the dollars. Why wouldn't
Yes.
they? Why wouldn't they tap in with us and see what what we want? Kind of build around our
Hmm.
preferences, but still keep in tune with their ideas and keep in tune
Hmm.
with the comics.
So I think Marvel does do that, but I think because their timeline was different, because Marvel Studios is old now when you think about it.
Yeah,
They came out in '08.
2000. Yeah, 2008 was the
Oh
first Iron
yeah,
Man. Yep.
So I think what I like, I don't have no proof, like because I don't really track it, but I feel like they have people in the comments like really
Oh, for
searching
sure.
through what people are saying.
Oh, for sure. I know for a fact. I know for a fact they were. We had. I did a video about Black Panther about
Hmm.
if they were going to recast T'Challa or pass the mantle on for Shuri for Wakanda Forever. I
Hmm.
know for a fact that they were in that comment section. I know for a fact.
Yeah,
That's our
they
biggest
gotta be.
video. Like hundreds of comments, and I'm like I'm listening to some of the responses. I'm like, yeah, these are burner accounts. Like this is crazy. Yeah, I know for a fact they do
Or they're interns and
it.
yeah. Searching, YouTube or whatever freaking social media site to kind of get
yeah,
some information.
That's smart though. I would.
it
Yeah.
is,
Why
yeah.
not?
I think, but to your point, I think DC is very upfront because DC Studios is a new studio. It's a
Hmm.
new studio built, which is kind of funny that they just thought of this because it's like Superman is arguably the most popular superhero. Like, I'm from Africa. Well, my family's from Africa.
Yeah.
A lot of them know Superman before anybody. Like,
He's
they
the
might
most
not even understand
recognizable
superheroes.
superhero.
Yeah.
Yep.
Before Spider-Man? Really?
At the
Spider-Man's
Superman's
up there
more.
for him.
I think it. I think the order is Spider. It's Superman, Batman, and Spider Man.
I think in
Most three
America
most
is Spider-Man or
Well,
North America. I
mhm,
okay.
think
Well,
it might be
yeah.
Spider-Man first, but
In the world is
Africa,
yeah.
Superman.
yeah.
Mm.
And I mean, but, it's a
Everyone,
big
everyone.
world. But for
Hmm.
my small little country of Liberia, I feel like it might be Superman first, but also realize that my parents came here a long time ago too, because
Hmm.
my mom and dad got here in like '89. So
Hmm.
when I try to like, pull culture from them, it's from my cousins who came here in the 2000s. I don't know. I
Yeah.
still got a lot of family over there. So how about this? I will do a poll for my Liberian cousins and see what they say.